Hello everyone and welcome to the new episode of Entrepreneurship Lab. This is your host Nevena Bajalac welcoming you once again to the podcast where we can learn more about scaling, growing your business, exiting your business, and as always we bring you very important topics, tips, knowledge, different speakers that help you grow and go to the next level. In today's episode, I will be talking about creating very good and quality processes for your business. Because if you know anything about me as a consultant, we help so many companies put in place processes and procedures. And I thought that today would be great to share with you what are some characteristics of those processes and what should you focus on and how can you write quality processes and procedures in your business, in your company. Before we start, I want to invite you to make sure to download these episodes, to give us some likes and hearts, share with others who are listening, and subscribe if you haven't already. And share with at least one person that can benefit from this episode as well. Thank you so much for your support, and let's start talking about writing policies and writing procedures and systems in your company. Now, first, let's think, why do we need a system and why do we need a clear procedure how things are done? One of the biggest problems I personally see as a consultant in companies, especially those that are scaling and growing so fast, is that it's not clearly defined who is doing what and how things are done. And this creates many problems in the company, among which it creates poor customer service. It creates confusion among employees. It can create frustration, and employees can be unsatisfied because they are expected to achieve something, but they don't know how. And also it brings a lot of different cultural aspects or individual aspects that every individual brings to the company. And if they're doing things in a different way, there is no unity that represents your brand. Brand is really not your logo, not just your visuals or your colors. Brand is really what does your company stands for. If it stands for excellence, for luxury, or for customer obsession, right? So these things should be reflected on your systems and your procedures in your company. Now, why the companies don't have clear process and procedure? Well, the thing is, a lot of companies grow from startups, or they have a very big funding, so they scale, but they don't pay attention, don't understand how actually clear procedures and systems are important. And we can see that from the biggest companies like Amazon, McDonald's, which is an amazing example, and other companies that have very clear procedures. So basically everything in your company that you're doing should be documented, should be written, and very clear how it is done. And I'm going to talk about benefits of that as well in a minute. But if we take example of McDonald's, if you watch the movie, I definitely recommend watching, because you will see that success because behind McDonald's, it's actually very clear process and a system how things are done. Now think about it. Employees are not wondering, should they put a burger first and then lettuce on top and then ketchup, or they should put ketchup and then lettuce and then burger. It is very clear who is doing what are the steps, and this increases efficiency, this keeps the quality. And very important, in order to scale your business and grow, you need to document and have very clear processes for everything. And this is going to help you if, for example, you want to franchise or open new things, new offices and expand. You're going to be very clear how things are done and how to do things correctly. Also, when you have clear processes and systems in place, if you need to hire more employees with a very clear process, written process, and a manual, it's going to be very easy to train them and explain them how to pick up the phone, or a cleaner how to clean and which products to use and when they should do things. And even more complex for your salespeople, right? How many meetings, what expected from them, and how should they communicate with the prospects. how they should present the brand and handle objections. So all of those things should be documented and have a very clear message and written document in your operations manual and your SOPs, standard operating procedures, right? So let's see if you are starting from scratch or you're already there, you have some things but not others, and you're wondering, are my processes and procedures actually good? What are some things you should pay attention? First of all, a very good process should be scalable, okay? This means we can scale using this process, okay? This is very, very important. It has to be scalable, it has to be very clear and direct. Because it's going to help you. The idea is to help you scale your business. So we want to create a process that's scalable and it's helping your company go to the next level, right? Helping achieve those goals. If you write a process and nobody's using it or doesn't bring the results, there is no point in written document if nobody's implementing it. So implementation is actually the most important. So that's the first thing you should pay attention, that it's something that's right, scalable. Second thing is it has to be repeatable, okay? Process has to be able to be repeated over and over again, right? So more people that are working on, let's say, same positions, job positions, and they're applying and doing the same thing, they should follow the same process and they can repeat it over and over again. So you have to say, how are we going to repeat this over and over again? Every process that you're writing, it has to be formal. So you need to formally write this as a document, and then we're going to train the team, right, on this formal document and these formal procedures. So that's another thing you should make sure when you're writing your processes. Something that's very crucial is that the process has to be simple to understand. Right, people, confused mind doesn't buy or doesn't implement. So people have to be very clear about the steps. The less steps, the better. So if it's simple to understand, the better. We all know that big companies like Amazon took over because they simplified the process of purchasing online, right? They had one-click purchase. So you didn't have to go through this huge 5-6 pages and leaving information. And if something is frustrating for your customer, let's say it's a process of how they're purchasing, if it's frustrating or too complicated, you're risking to losing that customer or that client. It's very important that it's simple. Now, people who are implementing this process or using this process, they can be your employees or they can be your customers. It has to be simple for them to understand and use it, right? If it's complicated, it's not gonna work. Okay, and we're talking to simple to understand. Next step is it has to be easily taught to new people. As your company expands, you're gonna have to hire more people, or there's gonna people be leaving your team and new people join. So we want to create a process that's very easy to teach to new people. Okay, and literally a person that should sit next to them on the desk, if we hand them an introduction or we give them a document which says this is how you, for example, pick up the phone, this is the questions you ask the prospect on the phone, and this is the answer we want to get, and these are the answers you can give on the frequently asked questions if they ask you this. If we create this very simple process, it's gonna help you and it's gonna work very efficiently. All right. Now, something that's very, very important and does not happen in so many companies is that the process cannot or shouldn't depend on scarce resources or, for example, on one individual. If you have one individual on your company that's the only person that can do the job and complete the job in a specific way or following this process, you bring scarcity. So if that person leaves, your whole company can fall apart. So we want to create the systems and processes, because the systems and processes run the business, and then people work within those processes and systems. Remember that. And never create something that depends on one individual. In different industry, depends. Sometimes we really need that input from individual people, and there are some people who have higher skills and better skills than others. But you want to look how can you systemize this and make a simple process that you can teach to other people so you can multiply. Because in business, multiplying is name of the game. All right? So never put it on a scarce resource or one individual. And let's talk about one more characteristics. So good process has to have like a feedback loop, right? So we ensure continual improvement. Because like I said, if we just write standard operating procedures and nobody's using them, or they're not bringing us the result we want, they're not a good procedure for your company or your industry or what you exactly are trying to achieve. And that's absolutely fine, because not every process will work in every company in the same way. And this is where consultants like me and my team, we really have the crucial role. And this is the biggest part of our work, is when we put a procedure and we train people on the procedure, we go back and we assess, is it easy for people to use it? Did they understand it? And is it bringing the result we want? Is it working? If it's not working, then you have to really quickly implement changes and adjust, right, the process, or create a completely new process, or adjust the steps that are not working. And working with people, right, we want to create something that's very simple, very clear, with clear KPIs, so they know what's expected, why they should do, what they're doing, and how they should do it. And when you do that, it's everything becomes easy. But when people are calm and they're doing things every day differently, it becomes very difficult to scale your company and achieve those results. So taking the time to write policies, to write procedures and SOPs, appears sometimes time consuming, but also it's not about just writing them. It's about creating the process that's going to work, that's going to be very easy and very efficient, right? And I'm seeing a lot, especially here in United Arab Emirates, WhatsApp is a tool that we are using so much to communicate with customers and clients. And unfortunately, there's so many downsides to it, right? People are missing messages, creating groups. It's very overwhelming. It's not clear who should stay and answer when. And we have to communicate in a very clear and better way. And it appears to be like a quick way of communicating with your customers and clients, but can also be a very poor way and bring a lot of challenges. So this is one challenge that we are seeing and working a lot with a lot of our clients and companies on how they can systemize that and how they can have a process that really is working. So I mentioned at the beginning that, right, there are definitely pros, and like I said, the business is always run by a system. If you want to scale and grow and have everything run smoothly, that people know what they're doing, and ideally you can step out the business and everything function, you need a system and clear processes so people work inside those processes and those systems. And then you can scale, right? If you're, for example, planning to franchise or sell your company or exit your company, this is what's going to bring immense value to your valuation of your business. And also, if you're franchising, you literally have to have everything step by step clear, so you can achieve that goal, right? Of selling your franchises and maybe eventually selling your whole business. I hope this was very clear, and this is something that you should start working on. So everything that's done in your company, you should write down, and you should be very clear how things are done, and create operations manual and SOP, write a book that it's very clear, very easy to taught new people, and it's gonna bring you the results you want. Again, if the process is not to bring the results, it's frustrating, people are not using it, you have to see if the problem is that maybe this process is not very easy to use or understand, and people are just doing their own ways. I hope this was helpful. I always like to be very straight on the point. I think you know that if you're listening my podcast for some time now. So go take these notes and go implement them in your business and look every single process and procedures individually and see how you can improve them and make them better. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to please give us some likes or hearts, download these episodes, subscribe to the podcast, and share it with others so somebody else can benefit as well. Thank you for listening and see you in the next episode.